as opposed to a creative side. So that kind of harmonizes between the two. Now, as a full disclaimer, it's okay to make mistakes, you guys. And more importantly, you need to put in the time. So when we go through the entire presentation itself, I want you to understand that as entrepreneurs, we're all going to make mistakes at one point or another in life. And it's more about how we get over those mistakes and how we put in the time to make sure that we are effective with those mistakes. And, understanding that we did make a mistake and the solution for that. And then putting the time to learn what you need and learn to become great at something specifically. That's huge and imperative throughout life. So if you guys are ready, let's just get into it and come up with some really, really good ideas. But first, we got to go over a plan. And as you can see, this is an acronym, and every good idea does start with a plan. So what does plan mean? Firstly, problems. The thing you're trying to solve and get paid for. You can find these out by talking directly to friends, potential customers, and just asking them open-ended questions about their struggles with your topic. And we'll go over those here shortly during this presentation. So feel free to jot down some problems that you may currently know of or that you may have, or if you're starting a business, maybe jot down the problem that you're trying to solve, and we can go into those a little bit later. The L plan is for language. So paying attention to the exact words and phrases that your audience uses when they're describing that specific problem. And also their feelings and solutions that they had for that specific problem. Having an understanding of the language that's used for your problem will help you better target the problem that you're trying to solve. Next, we have audience. So these are your assumptions that are related to the problems you're trying to solve. What assumptions can you make about the product or service that will solve someone's problem, as well as who are those individuals who you're looking to solve their problem for? Is it within a specific industry? Is it for doctors and dentists? Is it for construction workers? Who are those people who you're trying to solve the problem for? Okay. And then next we have needs. So the things in your customers' lives that aren't working for them, with which you can get specific about, and the products that you can use to create for them. So are you looking to save time for them? Are you looking to save money for them? Are you looking to make more money for them? Or are you looking to relieve some pain? Now, usually it's pain relief in some respect when it comes to needs, but we'll definitely dig into this a little bit further as the presentation goes forward. So now that you've got a good plan and an idea, let's see if we can figure out to see if it's a good fit for you as an individual, the market itself, and whether that idea has some merit associated with it. So first, let's touch on motivation. Now, if everyone has that piece of paper and pen handy, we're going to be doing a little bit of an exercise here, okay? So we're going to be taking your piece of paper. I've got this handy NAIT journal that Cecile got me over here. And what you're going to do is you're actually going to make a square, or I guess a little rectangle here, with the different areas that we're going to touch on. Very, very simple, straightforward. And what are those specific areas? So first, we have areas of interest. Areas of interest are things that you find interesting yourself. What are you interested in? Is it fishing? Is it a hobby? Is it mountain climbing, biking? Is it taking pictures? What are some areas of interest that you have as an individual? And I'll give you guys a few seconds to write down a few things here, as well as give you guys some examples here on the next slide. Things you spend money on. We all spend money every single day, whether that's coffee, whether that's notebooks, textbooks, my God, the textbooks, all kinds of different items that we spend money on every single day. And those are things that can be touch points for problems that people have. So what do you spend your money on? And then the last two are very specific, but they can be a little bit confusing. So let me go over them. The first is talents, and the second is traits. So traits and talents are ingrained in your genetic makeup pretty well. So it makes you who you are. So you must find your talents and develop them. And traits have to do with the way you behave or act. Okay, they're part of your personality overall. So as an example, a person might have traits to be kind generous, friendly, helpful, or, and I'm sure this isn't in your guys' case, mean, selfish, rude, short. I'm sure none of you guys are that. So let's stick to the positive stuff. And then your talents are things that you're good at doing, physically doing. So whether that's dancing, singing, speaking, drawing art, playing musical instruments, things that you enjoy doing but are specifically you're good at doing. Okay. And then also traits specifically in talents. Talents actually need to be practiced to be perfected. Okay. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes here. I've kind of done a simple overview as to what we're looking for during this exercise. So for my areas of interest, I've got fishing, camping, computers, programming, and marketing for myself. Things I spend money on: food, outdoor camping equipment, fishing equipment, computers and computer parts. And then for talents, tying knots. I was in cadets for a long time and we used to tie knots all the time. Coding, understanding trends, online research, and snare drumming. And some of the traits that I found for myself, and please be honest with yourself as well during the trait section: helpful, friendly, patient, quick learner, thorough, and problem solver. So what I want you guys to do is maybe go over these specific areas, and maybe what I'd like you guys to do is to go into the chat, and how about we go over some areas of interest that you guys have. So if you wouldn't mind putting in a few areas of interest that you guys have in the chat. Then we'll see if we can pick on some interesting areas of interest with you guys. And don't be shy. Seal, baking, running, biking, painting. Fantastic. Excellent. Is it Tayo? Must be Tayo. Traveling, finance, and real estate. Excellent. Azure, music, writing, tech, science, art. Okay. Chrissy, cooking. Excellent. Yeah, exactly, you guys. That's perfect. Those are fantastic areas of interest. Graphics design, yeah, absolutely. Marketing, researching. Joshua, law, love it. Love it. Excellent. Okay, so now you guys have a great grasp of the areas of interest. Let's go to things you spend money on. Maybe don't make them too generic, but feel free to put some stuff in the chat that you guys spend money on. That's not normal items, like fixed items like food, groceries, utilities, that kind of stuff. Make it a little bit more interesting. What do you guys like spending money on? Rent, yeah. I hear you there. Tuition, yeah, that's a great one too. Tech supplements, interesting. Special clothes, okay. Costumes, very interesting. Too much on jewelry, okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Love it. Lotto tickets, my gosh, Iman, you gotta, geez, lotto tickets, okay. Animal food and toys, perfect. Games, food and subscriptions. Netflix, great. Subscriptions, fantastic. Coffee and computers. Perfect, guys. Now, how about the talents? I'm very interested in the talents section here as well. I want to know what you guys are talented in. So feel free to once again pop some stuff into the chat there. I'd love to hear more about some of the talents that you guys have. Okay, online research, understanding trends. Perfect. We'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, digital art, UX and UI. So the people who are inside the chat or inside the session here that do not understand what UX and UI are, it's user experience and user interface, typically used when designing GUIs effectively. Public speaking, great, that's perfect. Fixing things and computer skills, pulling things apart and putting things together, that's fantastic. Instruments, writing music, excellent. Art, seeing patterns, what's not normal. Sounds like we've got a lot of business people in the crowd. That's fantastic. Good stuff. And then how about traits? Let's get into some of the traits. So what do you guys feel are some of the traits that you currently possess? Nice. Resourcefulness. I love that word. It's a great one, Carrie. Collaborative, love it. Energetic, absolutely. Carry on, gotcha. Compassionate, empathetic, good listener. Yeah, absolutely. We got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? Excellent. Good stuff. All right, so yeah, you guys got the idea. So let's get into the reason why we did this. So what I want everyone to do is to go into each of the individual squares and circle commonalities between each square. So for instance, in my specific matrix here that we have, fishing equipment, tying knots, and quick learning, I think is going to be 4 commonalities between these 4 areas. You have to be patient as well, I guess, while fishing. I guess that's also another one there too. So those are definitely 4 commonalities that I have within these boxes. So because I enjoy fishing, I love purchasing fishing equipment, I'm great at tying knots, and I'm very patient. Those are definitely specific areas that I can develop further, whether that's going to be into a business or whether that's going to be into another idea that regards fishing. But try and find commonalities between all 4 of these squares, okay? So feel free to circle them or go through them yourself. But we're going to move on here. So yeah, do any of the items relate to the plan? Exactly. If they don't, and the idea is validated, you may actually need to find someone that relates to your plan to partner with, or actually to help you out and educate yourself further. Okay, so never, ever, ever think it's a bad idea to ask for help. People are there to help each other. And we at the Maji Center are also here to help you as well. So if you find that you do not have any sort of relation as to an area of interest or a skill set, then definitely talk to Cecile or myself or any other entrepreneurs in residence and see if we can help you further. And furthermore, is there a passion and do you actually believe in this? If you do have an idea and you want to see it through, entrepreneurship is not easy work. It is very, very difficult. It is time consuming, and there's going to be times where you're just going to be inside of a headspace where you don't want to do this anymore. But just remember your goal and your passion driving you. Okay. So there's always going to be these times, but you have to make sure you believe in this and that you're passionate about it. Okay. So now that you've got a good plan and an idea as well, let's see if it's a good fit within the market. Now, would you check online to validate your idea? I think in today's society with COVID and how everything is transpiring, I believe that online research is going to be the best research, unless you're going to be socially distanced and making sure you're adhering to all the rules and regulations as well. And the best way to do research online is Google. Google has a lot of different specific tools to do market research. That includes trends, Google Trends specifically, Google Keyword Research Tool, and competitive search. I'm pretty sure everyone here has Googled something in their lifetime, and to make sure that you're utilizing that tool to the most use, make sure you look into these specific areas to see what the trends are, what people are searching for, and see if you can be competitive in that specific area. Next, we have social channels. There's a lot of social channels out there I'm sure you're all well aware of: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, et cetera, et cetera. You can utilize these channels and see whether or not there is validity behind your idea. So Facebook has a great analytics tool in their backend, as well as LinkedIn. So you can try and find specific trends or specific ideas within these tools that not necessarily are you going onto your feed and trying to find information, but going more into the back end of Facebook and LinkedIn to find trends and analysis. Next, we have the government. The government has a ton of different resources online. And that includes all levels of government. That's the government of Canada, that's the government of Alberta, and the city of Edmonton. They have open data and resource pools for you to actually look up information. And if you've ever heard of census, that's effectively the city gathering a ton of data together, or the province gathering a ton of data together for you to utilize. And all of that data is available online. So whether you're looking for a specific demographic or a specific psychographic of an area, you can definitely utilize these resources, and they will be accurate, I believe, up to 2016. They're going to be doing one again here shortly. Now, should you ask people in person about your idea? Should you set up interviews? That is going to be ultimately up to you, but I am going to say that you must be safe when doing so. There are companies who can help take care of this for you and do group sessions with people who have an arm's length relationship with yourself. We'll get into that a little bit later. But once again, I just want to say that if you are not comfortable meeting in person with someone because of the current nature of the marketplace, don't do so. Meet over Zoom, do like we're doing right now, and just make sure that you're utilizing all the tools available and making sure that you're safe. So the next question is, who do you ask? Ask questions to the audience, gather some information regarding, exactly, yeah. So who would you ask? It would be people who are at zero knowledge, people who do not know you and are at an arm's length distance. Focus groups are a fantastic way of doing this. And we have a few companies here in Edmonton that actually do conduct focus groups. If you'd like to reach out to them and see if you can provide some more information to them forward, definitely get that done. But people who don't know you really have no incentive to give you false positives about your idea. If you ask your mom or your dad or your cousins or your nephews or anybody, they're going to have some sort of intrinsic relationship with you guys. And they will give you false positives. It's a fantastic idea, yes. An air balloon company in the middle of Alberta is a fantastic idea. Or, I don't know, setting up something else, maybe inside of a warmer climate instead of a colder climate. Like, just make sure that the people who you're asking are not people that you know. Okay? Everyone does love a dreamer, and it's great to have ideas. But once again, the false positives are going to be a hindrance to you, and you don't want to waste your time. Okay? And also, focus groups are really good at doing some specific things. So like getting a group of individuals together who may not be early adopters, but may also give honest feedback as to what you're doing. This way, you never lose sight of your customers' needs. And in exchange for their assistance to your valuable feedback, you can show gratitude in many ways. If you feel like you need to give back to them, you can offer them free services or maybe some sort of, some tangible item for giving their information over to you or participating inside this process. Definitely give something for free. Because they're obviously giving you time, you should give them something back as well. Next, we have industry experts. An industry expert is a person who has authority in one particular area or topic as defined there. And obviously, you want to make sure that these people are, well known inside the industry. So these people can actually be fantastic partners for you as well. So let's say you have a lack in a certain area and you want to collaborate with some industry experts inside that area. These people can become partners with you and they can help refer individuals off to you and help give you guidance information because they have expertise in the area. Okay. So I guess the biggest thing is to ask the right questions, clarify, and definitely listen closely. Getting out of your comfort zone is the most difficult thing to do for most people. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable is extremely difficult to do. But you have to get out of your normal routine. You have to set up the meetings with strangers, and you have to make sure you're getting out in front of people who may not like you. You have no idea, right? And then listen to their feedback and their opinions that they have, making sure that it is collective feedback as well. Okay. And the best news is you don't need anything to get started. It just costs a few coffees, lunches, and your time to jumpstart. Right? And then obviously what to ask and how to ask and why to ask and tell me about a time when. These are specific openers that you can use when meeting with individuals. So not only asking, well, would you buy this product? That's very forward and very aggressive. So maybe asking some more detailed information and asking more questions and then listening closely to their answers and understanding if there even is a problem that you're trying to solve. So tell me more about that. What did you do to try to solve that problem? What did you mean when you said X? Tell me about another time that you experienced something similar. These are great one-liners for you to utilize when you're meeting with people. Okay. And then I guess before we head into merit, we should go over maybe some questions if you guys have any currently with regards to motivation or market. Feel free to go into the chat there and ask me a few questions if you'd like. Sure, absolutely. A focus group is a specific, well, a company will conduct a focus group, or you can conduct your own focus group with the right environment. But what it is it's effectively a bunch of people who are getting together who do not have a relationship with the company who's conducting the focus group or yourself. So they will actually gather individuals out in public to, and within your specific demographic and psychographic as well, to ask them questions about the product or service to see whether they would actually purchase the product, if there's any deficiencies within the product, what they think about the product, and ask them those specific questions that we had up earlier to further clarify your idea, product, or service. Like I said, there are a few here at Edmonton that do conduct them. Feel free to give it a quick Google, and there's more information about focus groups on their pages as well. And it does cost a bit of money as well. So feel free to go out there and ask those companies, but you can feel free to conduct them yourself as well. Starting up a restaurant and how these items you've gone over may translate to that business. Yeah, absolutely. So when we went over the 4 squares, the areas of interest, talents, traits, etc., there's definitely some pieces within there that can definitely go towards starting a restaurant. So do you enjoy cooking food? What motivates you? What are some traits that you have? Cleanliness, right? And then also some talents that you may have. Do you like prepping food? Have you always been the person to cook food at dinner? Those are some items that we went over a little bit earlier, but definitely, and even on the marketing side too, I feel like if you have an idea as to how many people are specifically within a specific area, based on the census, what kind of foods are searched a lot on Google and have been trending in Alberta, but there's no restaurants that are creating that type of food. There's a lot of information in the previous slides that can help with you seeing if your idea in a specific restaurant or a specific industry can definitely help you out. Does that answer both your guys' questions? And if anyone has any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. For market then, do you go into the depth of areas? Yeah, absolutely. You actually have to go into the depths because there's a lot of restaurants out there. So if you're looking to lease space, let's say, in a specific area, there might be already restaurants there that have specific clauses in their leases and all kinds of information that may stop you from setting up a restaurant in a specific area. The city of Edmonton just released a draft of their upcoming plan for 2 million people to be inside of Edmonton. So they've got a massive, I think it's a 180-page document that goes into how we're going to grow as a city to 2 million people, where the populations are going to increase the most, all kinds of information. That would be extremely useful for someone setting up a restaurant in Edmonton. Like how's one pick where to set up? Yeah, absolutely. Just even doing a quick Google search and finding information regarding which restaurants are in which areas, what's the most population dense area. Absolutely. All that information can be found with a few Googles. Does that answer your question? Perfect. Awesome. Excellent. Does anyone else have any further questions before we move on to merit? Excellent. All right, I guess I will move forward. If someone pops in with a question, I'll take it. So with merit, how would you normally validate your idea? I'm going to ask to you guys as a question. How would you normally validate your idea? What do you think is a great way of validating the idea? Crowdfunding? Good idea, actually. Problems with a solution provides a solution. For sure. Absolutely. But a solution in your eyes may not be a solution to the market. I like the crowdfunding. Haven't heard that one before. That's great. Okay. Yeah. Wouldn't ask people, you know. Let's just hop into it, I guess. Hey, Cecile, you got it. Sell that product. Absolutely. You got it. So people will tell you that they will purchase it. Okay. You'd be surprised at how many people make up excuses as to why they cannot purchase a product, and even why they can't pre-sell a concept before it exists. However, It is a valid and worthwhile sales tactic. Companies, old and new, do it all the time. In fact, it's how they justify spending big bucks to roll out new offerings to customers. So don't forget that. Make sure that you try and sell whatever it is whatever product or service it is that you have, to understand that people actually purchase that product for the price that you're willing to have it at. Liking the idea, yeah, is not the same as buying the product or service. Will they pay money for it? How many times has a friend approached you with an idea and you said, oh yeah, sure, I totally buy that. But then you secretly thought you'd never shell out the money or turn them down if they asked you for it. I'm sure we've all been inside of that specific situation before. So getting the pre-sales for your business takes care of that. And you should always do this either one-on-one if you can, and you're safe doing so, and you're wanting to do so, on the phone, via email, Facebook, wherever you can in order to communicate, okay? Show interest, describe your offer, ask for feedback, and ultimately, just ask for the sale. It's easier said than done. You guys can definitely get it done. It's super, super simple to do. It's just asking, will you purchase my product? And what's the reasoning why you wouldn't purchase my product? Absolutely, Carrie Ellen, absolutely. So what I would do is I'd actually put together a meal, right? Gordon Ramsay does this all the time. You get a plate together, you put something on a dish, and then you just say, how much would you pay for this specific plate of food, right? You can get an idea as to how much to charge individuals. Absolutely. The farmer's market, you could definitely start at the farmer's market there as well. Definitely a good idea and a proof of concept if you're creating sauces, jams, jellies, that kind of stuff. Definitely having the product there and figuring out your price point can definitely be viable. Absolutely. And even if you're using something like email, follow up after 24 hours in case you haven't gotten an answer. My rule of thumb is to follow up, follow through, and follow back. Make sure you always, always, always follow up. Okay. You have to get the people to pay you for what you're going to create for them. The reason this is so important is that asking someone if they would pay money for something is not the same as asking for money, right? So I just want to make sure that we've got that through, is that you must sell whatever that is, okay? And then just to finish this off, I know we're a little bit quick, but I want to make sure that we have a lot of time for questions with you guys. But I'm going to leave you guys with this specific quote by Robert Browning. A minute's success pays the future for years. And then I'll open it up to you guys for questions. Hopefully that wasn't too quick. It was about half an hour. But any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat. Or Cecile, I don't know if we're going to be doing open discussion.
Yep. I would say open up your mic if you have a question, show your face, and we'll get that networking component as well as your questions answered.
Excellent.
I'll ask a question.
Sure.
How do you know if you've done enough market research?
You know, there's a thing that we call analysis paralysis inside of the marketing industry. And if you're trying to over-research a product, you can definitely continue to spin your wheels. I feel like you can always do more when it comes to market research, but knowing when you've proven that your idea will work given in that market is when you should stop. Spend more time selling if possible, and less time researching if you get inundated. You don't need to have all of the data. The data will come once you sell your product. Perfect, no worries. Thanks for coming, Jenna. Carrie Ellen, it's overwhelming to think of starting a restaurant in the industry. Great question. I believe that we do have an entrepreneur in residence, Cecile, forgive me, that is inside the restaurant industry. And I think that he could definitely help you with furthering that conversation. What are your thoughts?
Yes, we do have an entrepreneur in residence from food service industry, as well as a couple of mentors from that area as well. So I would say reach out to me and we'll take it from there.
Excellent. Yeah, and once again, feel free to reach out to Cecile if you guys need a connection or anyone you'd like to be introduced to. She has a very, very, very extensive network, and she can definitely get you guys in front of the people who can further answer your questions in most industries, I would assume, right, Cecile? Excellent. Okay, do you have any experience with social media advertising such as Facebook? Any tips? Yeah, absolutely. Social media marketing has been the cause for incredible growth in companies inside of our portfolio. Um, it's kind of gotten a little bit of flack recently with regards to their advertising practices, especially with the election coming up, and a lot of big brands actually moving away from Facebook specifically and Instagram in that respect because they're owned by Facebook. But definitely when it comes to social media advertising, I always recommend an educational piece as opposed to a selling piece of content. You, as a company, should be educating clients within the industry that you're in order to prove that you're the expert or the authority to ensure that you have trustworthiness within your crowd. So we actually prefer doing more educational types of marketing as opposed to selling or sell-based marketing, if that makes sense. So any tips? I would highly recommend educating your current client base, whoever that may be, with specific information regarding your industry to make sure that you are the expert within that industry, as opposed to always asking for the sale. Does that help answer your question? Like I want to make an app, but building a professional app costs money a lot at the initial. But okay, so for sure. So how to validate the idea if you don't have an actual product or service to offer? Technically, the app is a product. You have something that's going to be tangible, and there's an idea behind that. With regards to getting funding for something like that, obviously there is going to be an upfront cost, but what you can do is you can find creative ways to move around that. So whether that's partnering with that specific app developer and saying you'll get a proceeds of sales. And if the idea is good enough and there's non-disclosure agreement signed, a lot of companies would actually go for that. Or if you want, you can definitely pitch your idea to investors and see if you can come up with the capital that way as well. If your app idea is fantastic and you have somewhat of a, let's say, a minimum viable product, an MVP that you can show yourself, definitely go ahead and do that. Or there's a lot of information online regarding how to develop apps. You can definitely dive into that if you'd like to take on that task. But I definitely, if you don't have that specific skill set, definitely partnering with somebody or getting someone who's skilled in that area would be extremely helpful. Perfect. Thanks, Daryl. Appreciate it. Did you want to introduce someone, Cecile, by the way? You mentioned that at the beginning of the...
Yes, and he's here. So Dale, I just wanted to introduce you to our students. As I said at the beginning, Dale is coming to us to help us as our post-secondary mentor. And he's spending half of his time with us and half of his time with Norquest. And so his focus is to help us increase the number of students taking the leap into entrepreneurship and help us increase their success rate at getting there as well. So did you want to say hi, Dale?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dale. Nice to meet you all. Carrie Ellen would love to chat with you some more about your restaurant idea. I've got some experience in that area, regulations as well. So yeah, we'll have to figure out a way to connect. But yeah, I've definitely got a wide range of different experience and knowledge. And yeah, I'd love to just chat with anyone and everyone. And yeah, if I can't help you out, then I can definitely refer you to some different folks. But it's great to meet you all virtually, and I look forward to getting to know everyone.
Yeah, and for now, you guys you've got my email address because I emailed you how to get into this session today. You can go through me and I'll make the connection for you to Dale.
Perfect. Excellent.
So, is there any other questions? Does anybody have any other questions before we end the session today?
Pashwa, you know what? Just one last thing, I guess. Pashwa, yeah, absolutely making a UX to make a prototype. Great, you're doing it. You got it.
Okay, awesome. So I want to thank everybody for joining us, and thank you, Garrett, for sharing your time and such an informative. And I loved how it was hands-on, so that everybody could sort of see where they're at session today. I want to remind everybody, we've got a few things coming up next October 13th. So next, is that Tuesday? Yes.
Yep.
Bank your business on being bankable. We've got ATB in to do that session. Business model with 101 with Startup Edmonton is on Wednesday, and you have to register by tomorrow for that, by tomorrow at 2 o'clock, because they've given us an early cutoff so they can get everything they need together for everybody who attends that session. Very valuable session. Next, on October 15th, we also have a super awesome opportunity. So any of our students who would like to network with students from other schools, we have only 10 spots. Make It Happen YEG virtual networking event with all the post-secondaries in Edmonton. We have some amazing panelists for that. So contact me if you'd like one of those 10 exclusive tickets. I think I have 7 left right now. And then we also have a great networking event on October 21st. And so I've sent information out about that through our Moodle. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can also pop me an email. Great opportunities to meet some amazing Edmonton business leaders in that event. And you'll be moved into breakout rooms. So you'll be like sitting at a table with those business leaders, and there'll be certain topics for each table. So you get to choose that when you register. And if there are any questions about anything we're doing, or if you want to book an appointment with our entrepreneurs in residence, or a one-on-one just with myself because you're feeling like you're not ready to talk to them, no problem. That's what we're here for. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And thank you so much, Garrett.
No worries. Yeah, thanks to you guys once again for coming out, showing your support. And if you guys have any questions and you guys would like to book a session with myself or any of the other entrepreneurs in residence, give Cecile a shout. She's fantastic. And thank you once again for the opportunity.
Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Take care, guys.